Working groups were constituted for each of the mixed income redevelopments, which got down to the business of planning how each community would be rebuilt.
What was called a working group was the centerpiece of the planning at each of the new mixed income sites. And the working group was intended to bring together stakeholders from every perspective.
Working groups included residents, representatives of CHA, HUD, city departments, local political leaders, the Gautreaux receiver and lawyers, and eventually the developers selected by the group to rebuild each community.
You needed people who were actually in charge at the table, who could make the decision at that time, so that we didn't have to go back and check with the commissioners or go back and check with this person before we could actually get commitments.
Should we have brick versus frame? Should we have mid-rises? Should we have just single-family homes? Should there be porches? All the way down to the feel and look of the community. And then as developments began to take shape, what would be some of the rules and regulations that would govern all kinds of things like that?
We had a say-so in how we wanted the apartments to look, where we was able to look at it and we could see what they was going to do before they actually made the final plans. It was a great insight for us to be able to have that kind of authority, to be able to have a say-so now.
As the plan for transformation came together, CHA engaged in a wide range of partnerships to leverage financial, political, and philanthropic support. The City of Chicago invested heavily in rebuilding the infrastructure of each neighborhood, delivering new streets and street lighting, sewer and water service, and park facilities. Many communities have also received police and fire stations, enhancing safety, as well as new schools. CHA's collaboration with HUD has flourished over the past decade, spurred by increased flexibility and independence permitted under the Moving to Work program. In the mixed income developments, for-profit real estate developers played a critical role, securing additional layers of private financing to leverage the CHA and city investments. Chicago Philanthropy also stepped up quickly, funding individual initiatives and founding the Partnership for New Communities to devote time, talent, and resources to issues of workforce development, economic development, and community building. As demolition of buildings began across the city, CHA began the process of moving residents either into private apartments with housing choice vouchers or into other CHA buildings that were partially occupied.
Are you happy about the change that's going on about leaving Stateway?
Well, that's my home. You know, I can't say I'm happy about it because that's where, when I was 1 or 2, I remember when I grew up there, you see. But everybody got to change. You gotta look forward to change, that's all.
But change was about more than just an address.
We didn't realize the depth of services people would need. The one thing we learned is you can't do anything by groups. It's family by family by family.
My grandmother forgot that she was supposed to move, and so when the movers just arrived one morning, she was pretty surprised, and she wasn't really ready to move. She hadn't packed up very much stuff. A call the day before, noticing something like that would really help people to get ready to move.
We started the plan for transformation and we had no information on the residents. We knew where they lived and how many people were in their household and what their names were. But as far as what their job was, what other services they needed, there was no blueprint for services for residents, and there was no blueprint for how to implement a whole relocation plan. So instead of not moving forward, we started to move forward and help people as we came upon them to get them the services they needed, and then year after year refining the services based on what we learned about the residents.
Social services were initially delivered through a referral model, but it became clear that referrals alone were not adequate. Eventually, Service Connector was replaced by a more comprehensive social services program called Family Works.
CHA took a step back and looked and said, hey, we need to change these services to fit the feelings and the emotions of what our families were going through. So now you see someone who's able to not only just be referred and linked, but services are provided within the community and on-site. From substance abuse, employment, we have an on-site psychiatrist, we have a wellness counselor, we have case management, we have just a whole holistic approach regarding families and their needs.
Working with the Partnership for New Communities Opportunity Chicago program, CHA now offers a variety of employment partnerships designed to help residents become self-sufficient. Income among working residents has increased from an average of just over $10,000 to approximately $19,000. The authority has struck a deal with the City Colleges of Chicago to offer free tuition to residents and supports education and employment by providing links to subsidized daycare for participants' children. Through time, CHA's resident services has also enhanced family support, expanding after-school youth programs, Park District summer camps, and youth scholarships. Today, redevelopment is well underway, with 71% of units renovated or replaced. 3,100 units in traditional public housing have been rehabbed, along with over 9,000 units in senior buildings, nearly 100% of those planned. Just over 3,800 residents have chosen to use Housing Choice vouchers to move to another community, either temporarily or permanently. On blocks where imposing gallery-style high-rises once stood, new neighborhood-scale mixed-income developments are taking shape. Thousands of new homes and apartments are completed, including 2,900 units of public housing. Seen from the street, the mixed-income developments feature building types and styles that complement the neighborhood. Within each development, fully subsidized public housing leaseholders live next door to renters in affordable apartments and owners of market-rate condominiums and single-family homes.
We didn't move in here because we're going to go change the universe, and I just got back from the Peace Corps and all that. It was on the radar, but a very small factor. But given that it was a mixed-income development, we liked being part of that because we both believe in that. And at some point in life, you do have to put your money where your mouth is.
You work, you might go to school, they work, they might make X amount of dollars, and it's good.
The developments are also benefiting the wider community, where home values have increased and where, for the first time in decades, new businesses have located, providing job opportunities and places to shop.
There's been a buzz in the community recently about the opening of this store in this place. That's really important because this is a community that has not received its fair share of investment of any kind, and it's a powerful signal that investment is on its way.
At the 10-year mark, the plan for transformation remains a work in progress. So it's natural to ask, what lessons have been learned, both for Chicago's future and for public housing and revitalization efforts elsewhere?
To me, one hallmark of success is that public, affordable, and market-rate housing are indistinguishable.
The people part of it is very, very, you got to get that right, or else, there's no point to all of it.
I would like for the residents to be able to have been moving in the direction of self-sufficiency, not only to become self-sufficient, but be able to get there and to stay there.
We know people are going to go through a number of jobs, and what we're really looking at is retaining employment over time, not specific one job.
I think you have to hold the community accountable. I think there's only so much that agencies like CHA can do. I mean, they can get the stuff built, but they also have to make people be accountable. You have to, put something back into the pot.
We've done the physical, and we've shown that we can take down some of those barriers that exist. Are we going to be able to do the next part, which is going to be the social and economic barriers? In part, that's a CHA challenge and remains that so, and in part, that's still a government challenge, but in part, that's a challenge for other community stakeholders and civic stakeholders to step to the table around.
Government, business, academics, foundations, nonprofits come together to address problems that are bigger and more complex than any one sector could solve.
You should not assume that the city goes it alone. You need public-private partnership. You need your civic partners. You need your philanthropic partners. You need the private financial institutions. You need the community.
Well, I think what you need is what we've had here for the last 10 years. You need an idea, you need a vision, and you need a plan that can bring all of the different agencies, state, federal, and local, to the table and say we have to coordinate that. It isn't just a matter of a couple agencies buying in. We need them all. We need the basic economic development, we need the transportation component, we need the education component, the healthcare component. It all has to be part of this answer. It takes leadership at the local level, a consensus on a goal, and I think that's what's helped us over the last 10 years.
The strategy hasn't changed. But what we have to modify are the tactics to get there, because we can't execute the same taxes that we would do in a different social or economic environment.
Now that we've gotten it together from the brick and mortar perspective, how do we continue to make the human capital part of it work better? You know, what ways can we work, you know, continually through this partnership, working with our residents, working with other community stakeholders to perfect the model?